morning and welcome to everybody. So this is our seventh session in total. The first two sessions was presented by Babu and Sendil about their own company specific. So after that, our own internal one, this is the fifth one, starting from Venkat, then from external speaker from literary meetings. Now this is meeting thing. We thank Dr. Murugappan for accepting our invitation and also taking his time to prepare for organizing the event by Karu and the team. Especially, we have to thank all the flyers since the
Take more photos.
Everybody for attending this session. For today's event, Bhaskar will be the moderator.
No. It's say cannot be.
Hello.
கொஞ்சம் எல்லாரும் மைக் ஆஃப் பண்ணா நல்லா இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
Yeah.
மைக் எல்லாரும் ஆஃப் பண்ணிடுங்க.
I think our organizer can switch off all others mic.
Yes. இது.
Yeah, okay. Nedu, you can continue, yeah.
Bhaskar, you can take over.
Okay, நன்றி நெடு. ஞாயிற்றுக்கிழமை இன்று அனைவரும் Zoom வழியாக ஒன்று கூடி
not able to hear you guys.
Yeah.
Of course, bandwidth issue, I believe.
இது சில ரூம் Zoom ரூம் கண்டிஷன்ஸ் என்னன்னா எல்லாரும் அவங்களோட மைக் பிளஸ் வீடியோ வந்து மியூட் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்காங்க. ஏன்னா இந்த பேண்ட்வித் இஷ்யூ ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா வரும். அது மாதிரி இந்த கொஸ்டின் அண்ட் ஆன்சர் வந்து கடைசி 10 நிமிஷம் இருக்கிறதுனால உங்களோட யார் என்னென்ன கேள்வி கேட்கணும்னு விரும்புறீங்களோ அதுக்கு இந்த
Bhaskar, you are
hello
slot is highlight, so you are talking but we can't hear you.
ஒரு நிமிஷம் இவங்க மியூட் பண்ணிட்டாங்க போல இருக்கு.
Yeah, we can hear you. You can continue.
Yeah. So நம்ம குரூப் Zoom ரூம் கண்டிஷன் என்னன்னா அனைவரும் உங்களோட மைக் பிளஸ் வீடியோ வந்து மியூட் மோட்ல வச்சிருங்க. கடைசி 10 நிமிஷம் கொஸ்டின் அண்ட் கேள்வி பதில் ஆன்சர். அப்போ வந்து நீங்க என்னென்ன கேட்க விரும்புறீங்க அப்படிங்கறத வந்து முருகப்பன் சார் கேட்கலாம். அல்லது இங்க சைட்ல சாட் பாக்ஸ் இருக்கு. சாட் பாக்ஸ்ல உங்களோட கொஸ்டினை போஸ்ட் பண்ணீங்கன்னா நாங்க அதை எடுத்து படிச்சு சொல்றோம். ஓகேங்களா? நன்றி. இப்பொழுது முருகப்பன் சார் ஆரம்பிப்பாங்க.
Okay, very good morning to everyone. So it's a very happy moment and nice to see all of you, of course, through the screen. One great thing about this is probably we are all on time and we start things on time. So we have wasted the least in traveling. So we are into business straight away. So good and bad at the current situation. So let's all look at it and get over it or get through it in a positive way. Yeah. I hope you all can hear me. So yeah, this is a sharing session. So I just want to keep it to be a sharing rather than a monologue or maybe like, so in the second half, I just want it to be a discussion session rather than a Q&A session. So we all can share our experiences. So we all can, tell our own solutions or our own innovations or whatever. So it will help everybody. So I just have about 20 slides. Yeah. So 20 slides. And I hope to take about 25 to 30 minutes. So after that, probably we all can, have a chat or discussion. So I just start sharing my screen. So just give me a moment. So I hope you all can see my screen. Yeah, someone can just respond. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Wait. Go. Okay, I'll just go into the projecting mode. Okay. So basically, today I just want to have a like discussion on whether risk or gamble. So we will look at what it is and what is it like to make a decision at this moment. So for that matter, even if you don't decide anything, it is a decision. It is a decision not to decide. So basically, you can't run away from deciding. So you have to decide. You have to decide something. You have to decide on doing something or not doing something. So I believe decision making is important, and it makes a lot of difference in everybody's life. Like you graduate, you may have 2 offers. You won't know which one to choose from. That makes a difference. Then you are about to get into your marriage. There are a few proposals. Many girls are after you, so you still have to choose one. So everywhere, so there is a decision to make, and nowadays sometimes it's also a frustration of choices. That means you have too many to choose from, or the worst scenario will be a frustration of lack of choices. You don't have any choice, so then you don't know what to do with it. Okay? So we have extremes in this case. And in doing this, everybody is bound to make mistakes. And what is right or wrong changes with time. So like you see, there's a story. Everybody says, the family says the boy shouldn't go to play. He insists he should play. So he goes to play football. By the evening when he comes back, he gets injured. So his ankle is fractured. So he comes home, everybody scolds him. So then they say it's a wrong decision to go and play. Couple of days later, then there is an emergency in the country. There is a war. They say all able men should go and report within 24 hours, and then they have to fight in a challenging warfare. Then they say, okay, this boy, whatever he had done is probably right. He can rather relax at home. He doesn't go into the warfare. So the story goes on like that. So it's like decision, whether it's right or wrong, also depends on the future. Sometimes we may see it in our lifetime. Sometimes we may see it even after our lifetime. Okay. So I just want to touch on the dictionary meanings of what is risk and gamble. Risk is some exposure to danger, harm, or loss, which we are already. Everyone in some sense is exposed to a risk at this stage. So they may be exposed to the least, or they may be exposed to an extreme. You look at the scenario 1. This guy is having a job. Probably he can do 90% or even 100% work from home. So then, or maybe his business is thriving just because of this current situation. So then this guy's business is comfortable, his business goes on. And there's another guy, so which he's probably extremely disadvantaged with this current risk, right? So probably a business that suddenly comes to a halt. Yeah. So maybe, for example, you can say probably he's in a travel tourism industry, or maybe airlines, or anything for that, or maybe he's in a some other affected industry, maybe a cinema owner, something like that. So then in that case, his exposure is extremely high. So he feels very insecure. So there's two extremes again. One guy who can be feeling very secure, and there can be a guy who is very insecure. And so this guy hanging on the rope, it's like he's quite also scared, right? Whether he continues to hang by the thread or jump down and run somewhere else, in a sense. So whether he can get into a business that does maybe something that is more stable at this condition, or maybe in the near future. Maybe he just thinks that if he continues here and suddenly the lifeline snaps, then he'll be swallowed by the crocodile below. Okay, so he is in a scared, extremely insecure situation. Actually, this whole topic to start with, it's my own sharing based on what I listened at one of the AAA sessions, probably about in the 1998 or 99. If you all can remember, there was one professor or vice chancellor from Anna University, Sadiq. So he was sharing a slide. His slide was much better than mine. His was a cartoon. So at that time, I empathized, or I reflected my own feeling with that. Some of us were working in those days, a big construction conglomerate. Everybody knows in Singapore, L&M. L&M was one of the biggest construction companies. And we were all working there in a very stable career. Suddenly you find that the company is like getting into a lot of payment defaults, the business was bad and so on. So such situations like I realized it's something similar to what he has drawn, or what I try to reflect here, something like that. So you just see yourself hanging by a thread, whether you just jump and try to run away and escape from the crocodile to safety, or you just wait there until the wire snaps, in which case you may not be under control. So when you are under control, probably you can decide which direction to jump. Maybe you can jump towards the tail of the crocodile and run away, or maybe you can jump on the crocodile and ride the crocodile, or the worst scenario will be you leave it to, or you just wait. The wire may never snap, you may just thrive there, right? So you can decide anything. So, or this wire may snap and you drop down and the crocodile swallows you. So there are extremes, and these are the scenarios of how you manage the risk. So either you manage the risk, or you live with the risk, or you are just swallowed by the risk, right? So it's something like that. Okay, so hopefully I have, okay, this type of scenario is, it happens to everyone, but now probably it happened to many people at the same time, or at least we feel this way. It may not be real, but we think this way. So this is the slide I saw with Siddiq. I still can remember, and then of course I cannot reproduce exactly, so I try my best. Okay, so this is something we all need to be just aware. So, and how you want to maneuver through this situation, and how you want to go on. Even if the guy in scenario 1, he's comfortable, his business goes on, doesn't mean he will continue like that, or he will sit down like that. He may want to do something better than this. He may want to use this opportunity to multiply and grow much better, right? So, so the scenario 2 guys question is a question of surviving and growing. The guy in scenario 1 will be growing. Okay. So coming back to this meanings, 1 is a risk, that is exposing to danger, which sometimes we create, sometimes it's external factors. external factors are beyond our control. I mean, there is a risk, you don't know. You are driving, suddenly there is a pothole in the road or big cavity in the road. So that's a danger. So there's a danger not created by you. You are drinking and driving, then you are risking yourself. You have created the risk yourself. So risk is a situation, and then finally, whether you decide to live with it, mitigate it, or eliminate it. I think in construction, we are all very familiar with this risk analysis. Okay, the next part I call it a gamble. So I call it a gamble is whether you take a further risky decision at this situation. You are already under a risk, and then you initiate another risky action, of course, in the hope of desired result. So whether you do it or not, that is, in the scenario 2 situation, whether you jump down and start running, or whether you jump onto the crocodile and start riding on it, or something like that. So whether you do that or you just live with the risk, you keep holding on to the rope and just sustaining it. Okay. Hope you all can clear well. Yeah, I continue. Okay. So the risk, let's say, will it be acceptable to live with the risk at the current situation, and how to manage the risk at hand, or gamble it, just now I mentioned. So to illustrate, you are currently in a job with uncertainty, or then the risk will be you continue in the job and await to be fired or promoted. Okay. So in my perspective of this presentation, the gamble would mean you take up a current trending job and look forward to something better. Yeah. So let's say you are working in a cinema. You think likely you are to have some sort of shock, then probably you start doing something else, right? So basically you are staying on course or manage the risk. Some people are of the opinion that this current scenario or situation may persist for short term. Some say it may change the lifestyle forever. So it may be like trying to say that AAA may even decide to always have web seminars and web meetings rather than arranging a dinner at Komla Vilasa or wherever, right? Or Kerala cuisine. So maybe once in a year you get together, but most of our sessions may be on web. It may change that way, right? Or we may be coming back to normal. People still feel bored looking at the screen. They say, hey, come on, we all must meet up regularly. Nothing can replace a family day, right? So it's something like that. So the uncertainty is there. What will happen is anyone's guess. And I'm not sure if anybody can predict. Okay. So if you're having a challenging business or investment, is similar. So whether you continue with the current and potential losses and await the next cycle. This is probably provided you have a very big pocket, right? Or deep pocket. So you can, or you have some business partner who can support you, keep funding you. And the more important is you must be confident that the business will turn around. So you will see the current airlines, some of them is taking this approach, right? So they know that the current scenario is very challenging, but likely they're confident that the business has to go on. It can't be like no airlines flying, right? So definitely you have to move around. Even if you don't move around at this economic growth stage, you need to have goods moving across the border. Different parts are produced at different places and assembled and so on. So, or you gamble, right? You think it's somebody is paying you value for the business, so just pay him, collect the money, and then you just get out of this business. So you don't want to be in something which is not under your control, or which you think is not very positive. Okay, so for all this, I think we have to fall back to our own Bible or our own guide. So it's very clear, right? So எண்ணி துணிக கருமம் துணிந்த பின் எண்ணுவம் என்பது இழுக்கு. Okay, so it's very clear. So this is something you can, we all can remember. So first of all, நம்ம செய்யறதே செய்ய தகுந்த செயலா இருக்கணும். செய்ய தகாத செஞ்சா அதுக்கு வந்து இதை அப்ளை பண்ண தேவையில்லை. செய்ய தகுந்த செயலை எண்ணிய பிறகே துணிந்து செய்ய வேண்டும். நான் இதுல எண்ணிங்கிறது ரெண்டு விதமா நினைக்கிறேன். ஒன்னு வந்து கவுண்ட் பண்றது, இன்னொன்னு வந்து திங்க் பண்றது. ஸோ கவுண்ட்டும் பண்ணிக்கணும், திங்கும் பண்ணிக்கணும். ஸோ யூ ஹேவ் டு ஹேவ் போத் அட்வான்டேஜஸ். எண்ணி துணிக கருமம் துணிந்த பின் எண்ணுவம் என்பது இழுக்கு. ஸோ துணிந்த பின் எண்ணி பார்க்கலாம் என்பது குற்றமாகும், தப்பு இல்லை, குற்றம். ஸோ யூ ஹேவ் டு believe in something, you have to do something, and then you have to pursue that. Okay, so செய்ய தகுந்த செயலையும் வழிகளையும் எண்ணிய பிறகே துணிந்து தொடங்க வேண்டும். துணிந்த பிறகு ஆரம்பித்த பிறகு எண்ணி பார்க்கலாம் என்பது குற்றம், தவறில்லை, குற்றம். ஸோ இட்ஸ் a very strong word. So that's why நிறைய மீனிங் இருந்து, பட் I still choose the மூவா உரை because of this particular word, குற்றம். And the other thing is செயலைன்னு வரையில செய்ய தகுந்த செயலை, which is acceptable to us. Okay, so we just step back a bit. We look at our lives, or everyone, like all of us, like, I try to simplify. Don't associate with the animal, but you associate with the behavior. So most of us, we graduate, we start doing some work, yeah, and every day we are doing the same thing. So we go up and down, crunch number or do something. So basically, it's we're working like a donkey. A lot of people say, I work like a donkey for what? Right? So it's like you work. The next stage is you get a bit bored, right? So come on, every day I'm doing the same thing. What's so great about it? Yeah. So you want to explore, you want to run around everywhere, and then you want to be growing in like exposure, or you want to learn more things, you want to try new things, travel few countries, or jump few careers and all this. So in that case, you behave like a horse. Or some people prefer to be like a elephant, right? So they grow in stature and grow in strength where they are, move around less. So like you have opportunity to go everywhere, you still you choose to be around the same your territory. So maybe someone prefers to be in Singapore for a long period, do his work, or maybe better still, maybe even you don't change your job, continue in your own job and thrive in the company. Okay. So once, so this one I call it a second stage. So once these two happens, right? So what happens is you go to the next stage. Yeah. So this is a risky stage. So everybody wants to try something even very different. Why I should be moving horizontally and running and all that? I want to be jumping, and then I want to be elevated quickly, right? Or elevated in a faster way. So I want to jump from one place to another. It's like you really want to have a elevation with, you reduce your weight, you become more agile, you want to move around quickly, and then there is some fun in it, right? So you want to have some fun. So the thing is, when you come to this stage, probably the risk you are initiating yourself keep increases from the left to right. So it's also the same thing, like the higher you are, the steeper is your fall, like that. So more you are getting into a what do you call risky situation. So you start as working like a donkey, then you power out yourself into a more stable or agile human being. Then after that, you want to try. Sometimes you also want to try your luck. You want to jump or gamble also. Yeah. So these are the three different stages, I think. And so probably the more relevant for us today will be the third stage. So where you are thinking of jumping around. Okay. So it need to be a bit more scientific, right? So everybody listens to a lot of things, risk matrix and all that. We search everywhere, you can find this type of information. There's nothing very extraordinary about it. So what you are trying to see is that possibility of occurrence and consequence of risk. So this is very straightforward. You need to have a low probability of a risk, and least effect will be the best. Okay. So I think there's a numbering error on that. You just have to be the reverse on the other side. Yeah. Okay. So basically, what you no, it's okay. The chart is all right. So basically, what you look at it is less than 10. You are always on the safe zone. 5 times 1, or 4 times 2, 3 times 3, 2 times 4, 5 times 1. So it's like that. So you are on a safe zone. Or when the consequence is high and your exposure is high, you are at 25. Yeah. So the same thing on this. So some of these, okay. So, some of this coloring on this side is not right. Yeah. So you have to look at the, you just focus on this top half of this. Yeah. Okay. So you have green, and then you have a red when you go to 25, and then you have something in between. You ignore this part. Huh? This one shouldn't be this color. Yeah. Okay. So the problem is that you have a unknown risk. So you have something which may have a consequence that is close to infinity, or there is occurrence which is very likely to occur, definitely likely to occur. Then in that type of situations, our exposures is high. What I'm trying to just tell you here is, basically what I'm trying to share here is, there are risks that are unknown. When the risks are known and when the consequences of risks are known, you can easily do a graph that actually it's very easily calculated, it's scientific. You can never make a mistake. It's not a mistake on the numbers, it will be the mistakes or the future that is unknown to us. Okay. So let's say you are operating on a mix of green, yellow, and red, right? So if you are green, yellow, and red, I say probably you are operating on example of 80-20 and 0. Mostly you don't take any risk, you are very conservative. Then you have some risk-taking activities, and you don't go into extreme risk. Yeah. So but whatever you do, your result can vary. You can be from minus infinity to plus infinity. Yeah. So you can be minus infinity to plus infinity. How your minus infinity and plus infinity happens? So most of us start with a 0. It means no loss, no gain, right? You just want to start off and keep doing your work. So you just start with a no loss, no gain, or you do an investment that comes with just a beginning. So you have the next stage where you have some gain, but with minimal risk. But it can turn into towards a plus infinity where you gain far above investment, or minus infinity where you lost beyond investment, right? So we just look at what we are and where we are in the Singapore context. Okay? This shows a simple statistics you can see from the MOM website or anywhere else. So it's very straightforward in the sense that the median gross income of a household keep increasing over the last 10 or 20 years. So the rate of increase is about 3 to 4%. Probably it captures the inflation. Yeah. And what happens, let's say as an engineer, yeah. So maybe you start with a annual pay like a 40K. I just take it as an example, and try to do a progression. When you do maybe about 10 years, then this is a minimum I'm talking about. So you maybe too good, you may be making a lot more, or you may be relaxing, you take a part-time and then you take half the pay. It doesn't matter. So it's just an indication of how anyone evolves. So you just start off with a 40K, then after that, maybe in 10 years, you hit a 70K, and probably you evolve into a project director, so 120K, something like that. So this is something which maybe majority or many of us experience. Yeah. Okay, so we are living in Singapore, nice weather. No need to have special clothing. You can put on the shirt, or if you prefer, can take it off also. And you don't need to close your window. You don't need to switch on an aircon. You can still be very comfortable, right? And you have a safe neighborhood. You can walk around anytime. So you have a job, life goes on, right? So, but life is not so simple, right? Although we start our life at zero, then what is our worry? And where is our fear, or what is the fear? Okay, I just do another illustration. Yeah. So it's something like, you see the left side, there is a graph which shows a time in years and then a cumulative earning. Okay, so this is cumulative earning or expense and saving. So let's say cumulative, you earn like that. So from the starting day, let's say you start working in 25 years, then you start accumulating, means additional. Whatever you have earned until 60 years is so much. So of course we start spending also. Our expenditure, I assume, is close to the earning in the starting of our career. So I put it almost zero saving. Then after that, as you go, there is a accumulated saving. So, so your expense is so much. So accumulated expense is so much. Your accumulated earning is so much. So the vertical difference between these two curves will give you the vertical gap will give you the difference between the expense and earning cumulative. So that gives you what you have gathered until today. Okay. So maybe when you retire, this is my own guess. So your retirement, let's say you retire at 50 years, and probably you are making some earning per month. Your likely accumulated wealth is not necessarily cash. What I mean is accumulated wealth, maybe your house, maybe your car, maybe your investment in your children's education, or maybe your gift to your son, whatever, or gift to your daughter, everything. So whatever your accumulated wealth is likely, my guess is maybe 50 times the last month earning. It can be more or less. It's just, we just have to see, you can do your own graph. What is your cumulative earning? What is your cumulative expense? What you are likely to end up in your retirement stage you accumulated wealth. The point here is that, so your accumulated earning doesn't necessarily take this smooth curve. This will have rough patches, which means likely your expenses are cumulative like that. You obviously cannot control it, or you probably won't or cannot reduce it. But what will happen is your earning stagnates for a period. So what you don't want is when your earning stagnates for a period, you don't want to get into this territory of exceeding your cumulative expenses. So, which means your likely chances of that, you get into a bad loan or you get into a default of payment and so on. So whether it's a business or individual, this is what we don't want. So we want to have a cumulative earning, which is always higher than the cumulative expense. And whenever there's a stagnation or external factor that affects this, then you're still within, you still have a positive value here. Okay? So whenever there is a setback at certain point in along our life, it doesn't mean we reach the same target as the original target, but this final is 100%. The 100% value can vary, but finally you still reach the end of your life. The 50 times the last month earning may be different when you go on this curve and when you go on this curve. So, and so the point here is the liquidity is very important. Liquidity in the sense that when you have something like that, you have accumulated earning, but you also have accumulated expense, but you have the difference which is in the saving. Yeah, the savings, like you measure here, this savings can be in any form, can be in a form that you can liquidate, which means you can straight away take the cash, or in a form which you cannot liquidate. You probably bought some asset which you cannot sell immediately, then it becomes, your liquidity is low. So probably my own guess is keep cash target of 12 times your monthly expense, and not a monthly earning, your monthly expense including any repayment of the loan. So it can be more or less depending on you. You want to be comfortable, you can be more. Okay? It's just any number is what you need to decide for your own. So then what is our fear, right? So our fear is being landing at minus infinity, right? So you start with zero, you have some progress with minimal risk. Maybe you're at 1, somewhere there or nearby. You always strive and try to make it plus infinity, yeah? So, but there are risks that we create and also external ones which are beyond our control. So then what is our greatest fear? Our greatest fear is, will I land in minus infinity? So these are just a simple sharing. So how do we minimize the risk of our own creation? Yeah? So we avoid excessive loans. We review and continue our hard work. There's no easy money out there, which means to me, you always have a component of the 3 animal behaviors we saw earlier. So always you should have some component of your hard work. You always have some component of looking for opportunity, and you always have a component for jumping around. Because if you are heavy on one side, you will never reach the other side. So you just have to have some balance which is comfortable to you. This mix very much depends on you and us. And like I said, this is when you feel that the combination you take and pursue, you should be able to be not stressed because of that. In short, this decision or these choices shouldn't affect your sleep. This is how I try to decide on how you, or just my guess on how you could evaluate your own comfort zone. You are doing something and you feel absolutely comfortable, you are not worried about tomorrow or the year down the line, then you are very, very much under control. Yeah. So the other thing is you have to ensure that your employment and business agreements are very well drafted. That's absolutely important. trust is one thing, but paper will determine the course. So you today A and B are very good friends. I say, hey, come on, whatever happens, I will take care of you, you know. But the day when the external threat comes, he says, hey, sorry, man, but this is what we agreed, and you can't fault him, right? So you have to be very clear on your employment and business agreements, and you have to draft them very well. And if you think you want to say no, don't ever say yes, okay? So if it's a no, you will stick to yourself, no, don't say yes. So for those who are very interested, you may want to read a book, which also I think influenced me a bit. There's a book called Don't Say Yes When You Want to Say No. There's a book by this name, and it's quite a very simple theme and easy read. So you can find it. So yeah, okay, that's something you may want to do that, because if you say yes when you want to say no, then you end up having sleepless nights, because that means you know already the danger ahead, or you know the risk ahead. You are exposing yourself to some grave situation which has a minimal probability, but still it's not a zero probability. So then how do we minimize the impact of external risks? External risks are beyond us, right? So you can't limit your, you try to limit your investments with adequate liquidity. You can have some risky investments. Risky investments means which can drop down to zero, not to minus infinity, right? So you can probably, for the current situation, you find some, you don't go for a blind risk, but you go for a calculated or potential, you study the potential and invest in some high risk thing. So maybe one such maybe could be something like an airline. I don't know. For the moment, short term is definitely a high risk. But by this time, everybody knows what is happening. So maybe you have, you just have appetite for high risk. You just put in a small money there. Of course, you don't put all your money there, but it's just a small one. So again, it's just a small and big, again, relative and depend on you, right? So what you think is small, and you define your small, big, and similarly high risk and low risk. And the other thing we all need to probably learn along the way, easily said and difficult to practice, is spread your investments, effort, learning, and everything on a different areas or zones. So something like geographically, you can geographically, or even when you come to study, maybe in different fields. We graduate as a engineer, we don't need to continue to 100% pursue as engineer. It's your choice. You can do that, or you may want to spread your capability, do some accounting, or maybe study something along the way, and use the times, challenging times like this, to always look back and enhance yourself. So at this time, I always feel that you have to look at it as time and money are equally both important for us, in the sense that if you have money, most of the times you don't have time, right? And that means you are working, somebody is paying, you don't have time for other things. But if you're having less money coming in, that means you probably have taken a break from a job, or you have taken a slowdown in your business, then probably you have more time. So either way, money and time, you use them wisely and invest, and we have to all invest money and time wisely. So when you are making money, you lose time. When you are gaining time, you are probably losing money or not making it. This is my own thinking. So we don't need to be very, we have to be cautious, and we have to effectively use what we are getting or invest what we gain. Okay. So coming to the next part is predicting the future and betting on it. It's very high risk, and it's probably gambling. Yeah, you probably cannot predict the future, and if you can, and probably you are one of the, I don't know, either you can call it lucky or you are one of the exceptions, and it's something, or you are very well planned and you are very well risk managed. So that's why predicting the future is almost impossible to me. But if someone makes it possible, they will be the leaders, or they will be the successful people, extremely successful people. Okay, so if you think you are not yet one of them and you are on the way to such a scenario, then limit this component of predicting the future. That means when I say predicting the future is, don't blindly bet on the future. Don't just think that this will become that or that will become this, and keep looking for possible opportunities, and don't just hope. Okay, so that is something very can be wrong. Just hoping without any plan is a recipe for disaster. Yeah, you just say, I hope this will happen, but how this will happen, at least you need to have a plan and you need to work on it. And if you just hope without a plan, it's likely to be a disaster. Someone told me this a couple of years ago, and I find it very true. So I was in for a project meeting, and I was just telling him, yeah, we can do this and all that. Then I said, I hope I will do something. And he said, yeah, if you hope and if you don't have a plan, you will end up in a disaster. So I think that is very true, I think. So you need to have a plan to avoid any disaster. Okay, so how do you consider, how do you make a decision at this stage? Yeah. So you have to look at your liquidity to a certain considerable period. You make sure you have some cash or some asset that sustains you for a considerable period. And you have to continue your hard work in some way or other, right? So if it's just a CB period, doesn't mean just don't blame on something, and we don't blame on something and we lie back. I say, come on, this guy did this to me, that guy did this to me, who expected this to happen. Come on, I don't know what to do. Venture on something that you could, and it will have a long-term or short-term effect positively. So you try to plan your own some short-term and long-term targets, and like I say, if you have time, use that time wisely, and if you're still making money, just continue to make so. And continue to invest in the future, need not shy away. Yeah. So you don't need to assume, we don't need to assume, I shouldn't say you, this, we are all part of in the same scenario, and I just see this like, we just want to continue investing in the future, not just to shy away. Don't think that the share market will go to minus infinity, or your job will land up in no career for the next 30 years like that. So you don't need to think like that. Rather, you need to have a plan and you have to move on. Okay, so just I have 2 or 3 cases just to quickly see. This is not something new, or you can read, or you have probably read this everywhere. So recently, one of the, you can see many successful companies which have actually been successful by any means for a very long period beyond our imaginations, even have landed in challenging times. And everyone comes with its own way of managing the risk or the current situation. So some decide to maneuver, sustain the business and continue. And if you are not strong enough, you're blown away, right? So you can see one more on the next page. So you can see this this guy, then what happens, everybody knows, yeah. So these are something we just see these days, and we of course don't have a lot of news or information on smaller companies. Probably there are too many news and too much still we need to know, or we would know, yeah, we still don't know. So well, if this can happen to, if this challenge is faced by big timers, we are no exception. Yeah. So and then finally, just the last few slides, and I've probably taken 10 minutes more than what I thought. Okay, so what is happening to construction activities, including renovations to, you know, it's likely to resume. Yes, it's likely to resume. How we will progress, how many, what works will start first, and what will happen is anybody's guess. And whether some projects may be delayed, whether the foreigner component may reduce or increase, or a lot of things we still don't know. It's just unknown. We can carefully and diligently follow what is happening. So in all our risk analysis, I think we should remember, and we should always base our analysis on this Murphy's Law, which is very popular. If anything can go wrong, it will. Okay, so the possibility is also you cannot guess some things can go wrong, but is just that if you think anything can go wrong, you have to assume, or you have to analyze based on the perspective that it will go wrong. And when it goes wrong, how do we sustain it? Yeah. Okay. So I think I just come back to the first slide again, and I just end my so-called talk, or end my view. So I've been lucky. AAA, you have given me time for 45, 50 minutes for me to talk and share my views. I'm sure every one of us have an equally valuable view, or even better. And it's important that we all listen to everyone. And then, so hope we will have some time. And then I just hand over this screen to the moderators, and then I'll just step in only when I have a specific things to be replied. So now, can anyone see my screen, or I have stopped the share screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can hopefully see my face, I think. And
yeah,
thank you very much, AAA, for the opportunity. And then, and I'm sure we have many more presentations around this time, and we have been actively doing it since a few weeks ago. And I wish everyone all the best. And yeah, sure we will come stronger and successful in the time to come. Thank you.
நன்றி டாக்டர் முருகப்பன் சார். இப்போ அந்த COVID-19 சுச்சுவேஷனில் வாட் ஆர் த ரிஸ்க், ஹவு டு ஹேண்டிலிங் திஸ் சுச்சுவேஷன் இதை பற்றி சொன்னீங்க. நம்ம AAA மெம்பர்ஸ் யாருக்கு எது மாதிரி கொஸ்டின்ஸ் இருக்கோ சார்கிட்ட கேட்கலாம்.
கேட்கலாம்ங்கிறத விட we will discuss.
Yeah, we will discuss. Okay.
Yeah, probably you can, if someone has some innovation, some experiences, you can share how you are planning, what you can do, and if you are willing to share, right? So sometimes things are personal, we don't want to.
Hello, this is Karthik.
வணக்கம் முருகப்பன், அன்பழகன்.
வணக்கம்.
ஹலோ
ஐயா வணக்கம்.
ஹலோ, கேக்குதா?
கேக்குது.
ஹலோ,
கேக்குது அன்பா சார், சொல்லுங்க.
ஹலோ
சார், எங்களுக்கு கேக்குது சார், நீங்க பேசுங்க, கேளுங்க. ஹலோ, மேபி அடுத்தவங்க பேசலாம் நினைக்கிறேன். கார்த்திக்.
ஹலோ டாக்டர் முருகப்பன், தேங்க்யூ, வெரி இன்ஃபர்மேட்டிவ். எனக்கு வந்து ஒரு இது ஜஸ்ட் ஒன் கிளாரிஃபிகேஷன் ப்ராப்ளம் வி கேன் டிஸ்கஸ். எண்ணி துணிய கர்மம் துணிந்த பெண் எண்ணுவது இழக்கு, அது வந்து எல்லா டைமும் அப்ளிகபிளா? அதான் என்னோட கேள்வி. ஏன்னா நம்ம சப்போஸ் லெட் அஸ் சே பிசினஸ் வந்து
சோஷியல் டிஸ்டன்சிங் நார்ம்ஸ் வந்து எந்த அளவுக்கு வந்து கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன் இண்டஸ்ட்ரியை அஃபெக்ட் பண்ணும் ஒண்ணு. இத வந்து ஷெட்யூல் எப்படின்னா டைமிங் ஷெட்யூல் ஒரு பேட்ச் ஸ்டார்ட் ஃப்ரம் 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30 அந்த மாதிரி ஸ்ப்ரெட் பண்ணிட்டு, இன்னொன்று வந்து ஆல் 7 days ஒர்க் ஃபார் டிஃப்ரெண்ட் பீப்புள். தே கேன் சூஸ் 2 days ஆஃப், 1.5 days ஆஃப், 1 day ஆஃப். All the 3 combinations can mitigate the social distancing norms in construction industry or generally? Okay. Like crowd in public transport.
I'll just try to discuss both the points.
My question
one, I think, I heard your question. So first is Karthik, thank you. He said எண்ணி துணிய கர்மம் எப்போ அப்ளிகபிள் ஆன. நமக்கு தெரிஞ்ச வரைக்கும் திருக்குறள் வந்து எல்லா பீரியடுக்கும் அப்ளிகபிள்னு தான் நினைக்கிறேன். ஸோ அதுல வந்து ஒன்றும் நமக்கு சந்தேகம் வந்துடாது. ஒரே கொஸ்டின் வந்து என்னன்னா, எண்ணி துணிய கரிமம்னா ஆல்வேஸ் வெதர் வி ஷுட் ஸ்டார்ட் சம்திங்னு கேட்டா, இட்ஸ் நாட் சேயிங் தட். வாட் இட் சேஸ் இஸ், இஃப் யூ டூ சம்திங் யூ திங்க் அபவுட் இட் அண்ட் டூ அண்ட் தென் டோன்ட் ஸ்டெப் பேக். இட் டசன்ட் சே யூ ஜஸ்ட் ஸ்டார்ட் சம்திங், அவ்வளோதான். நம்ம எதா இருந்தாலும் ஏதாவது ஆரம்பிச்சு தான் ஆகணும் அப்படிங்கிறது சொல்ற மாதிரி நான் அதை மீன் பண்ணல. வாட் ஐ செட் இஸ், வாட் எவர் யூ ஸ்டார்ட் யூ மேக் ஷுர் தட் யூ திங்க் அபவுட் இட் அண்ட் யூ கவுண்ட் யுவர் நம்பர்.
நான் அதுல வந்து ஒரு கிளாரிஃபிகேஷன், நான் கொஸ்டினை ஃபினிஷ் பண்ணல. நான் எதனால அந்த கொஸ்டின் ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்கா கேட்டேன்னா, இப்ப COVID-19 முன்னாடி நம்ம ஒரு பிளான் பண்ணிருக்கோம்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க, பிசினஸ் ஆர் இண்டிவிஜுவல். சரி, லாஸ்ட் டிசம்பர்ல வந்து இந்தியா ஸ்ட்ராட்டஜிக் பிளான் ஒன்று போட்டிருக்கோம், ஒன்று பண்ணியிருக்கோம். அது வந்து எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ண ஆரம்பிக்கிறோம். அது வந்து இட்ஸ் வெரி வெல் பிளான். பட் இப்போ வந்து மார்ச்சுக்கு அப்புறம் வி நோ தட் வி கேனாட். ஸோ அதனால தான் வந்து வி கேனாட் ஜஸ்ட் பிளைண்ட்லி கோ ஹெட். அப்போ வந்து வி ஹேவ் டு ஸ்டாப், திங்க், ரீதிங்க் அண்ட் ரீபிளான். ஸோ அந்த இதில் தான் இந்த எண்ணி துணிய கர்மம் எல்லா டைமும் அப்ளிகபிளா? அதனால தான் அந்த கேள்வி கேட்டேன்.
கரெக்ட். அதாவது எண்ணி துணிய கர்மம் துணிந்த பின் என்னும் என்பது எழுக்குன்னா, நீங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இந்த பிசினஸ் ஆரம்பிக்கையில இந்த ரிஸ்க் எல்லாம் பார்த்துட்டு ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்கணும் அப்படிங்கிறது தான் அதோட மீனிங். அஃப்கோர்ஸ் இது வந்து மெனுவரிங். வாட் வி ஆர் டாக்கிங் அபவுட் இஸ் மெனுவரிங். ஒன்ஸ் வந்ததுக்கு அப்புறம், அதாவது வந்து இப்போ குதிச்சு ஸ்விம் பண்ண போறோமான்னு ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டோம்னா, குதிச்சு ஸ்விம் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிடறோம். ஆரம்பிச்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் வேவ் அப் அண்ட் டவுனா வருது, திடீர்னு வந்து நினைக்கிற வரை வரலன்னா, நீங்க அட்லீஸ்ட் யூ நோ வேர் த ஷோர் இஸ் அண்ட் வேர் யூ கேன் ஸ்விம் பேக் டு. That's what is எண்ணி துணிய கர்மம். ஸ்விம் பண்ற குதிக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி worst scenario வந்தாலும் நான் எப்படி ஷோருக்கு ரீச் பண்ணிடுவேன்னு திங்க் பண்ணிட்டு போனோம்னா you will reach the shores. See, it's something like you invested 10% of your let's say of your future into it, and you got really challenged. Then you just say thank you and then you walk out with the remaining part of your life. So that's how I look at it. It doesn't mean you also continue to the end. I mean, you have a plan for what you did. That's all. Basically, நம்ம என்ன பண்றோமோ அதுக்கு வந்து ஒரு பிளான், அவ்வளவுதான். So that's all. Yeah. So it's அந்த ஸ்விம் பண்ற மீனிங் வந்து எனக்கு கிளியரா தோணுது. ஸோ நம்ம வந்து இப்ப ஸ்விம்மிங் பூல் காண்டோல தண்ணி ஸ்டேபிளா இருக்கு, குதிக்கிறோம். பட் ஸ்டேபிளாவே இருக்கும்னு நினைச்சுக்கிட்டு குதிக்க தேவையில்லை. குதிக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடியே திடீர்னு தண்ணி ட்ரா டவுன் ஆச்சுன்னா என்ன ஆகும், இல்லைன்னா ஏதாவது எவனா கல்லை தூக்கி போட்டான்னா என்ன ஆகும்னு யோசிக்கலாம். ஒன்றும் it can be pessimistic, but you can do some thought about it. So it will make sure that okay, you at least have a solution.
எல்லாருக்கும் நன்றி. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ஆல் வந்துட்டு இந்த ஆன்லைன் ட்ரைனிங் வந்துட்டு அப்ரூவ் கொடுத்த எக்ஸிக்யூட்டிவ் கமிட்டி மெம்பர்ஸ், பிரசிடென்ட் மேபி, செக்ரட்டரி ராஜேஷ், அன்பு அண்ணா,
Yeah, அன்பு சொன்னதுக்கு வந்து
senior members கலந்துட்ட senior members.
யார் பேசுறாங்க? Hello.
Hello.
Can I continue?
Yes, continue பண்ணுங்க சார்.
Yeah, I just go to the second discussion that's on Anbu's queries. I think there's a lot of specifics. It's very difficult to guess. And what we can see at this moment is only that the construction cost will go up. And maybe இதுதான் வந்து இப்போதைக்கு தெரியுது. கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன் இதே ஸ்பீட்ல நடக்குமா என்ன ஏது, there's no certainty, or I'm not able to guess the future. Yeah. Okay.
To add to Anbu's question, yeah, but construction site and all okay, because still we are disciplined workers and your management. How they can do it in public transport like MRT and all that? Because at peak time you can see that people rush like mad. Where we can able to do it? So in that case, you need to do the staggering of the office hours, and they have to diversify the timing, as you said, and Saturdays, Sundays, some option should be given. But as you said, the cost will go, because Monday to Friday only the office open. If you put on Saturday and Sunday, electricity, water, aircon, everything is there. So the overhead cost also will go up. And keeping an MRT one seat, like hawker centers, they give one seat left for the next seat. So distancing, you can't do it practically do it in MRT and all that. I don't know how they're going to handle it. It's really a challenge. So what do you think about in that perspective, social distancing in every aspect of our life? Is it going to be there forever? I'm not sure.
No, again, this can at the best be a guess only, right? So every disruption has come with some innovation or change. And I mean, or a simple question like whether cinemas will be around, or whether you will only watch movies from home, whether you will again get to even the train, how do you commute may change. In fact, the way even a lot of people may start working from home. And again, a new set of challenge may come from working from home also, right? So you need to be living with your family and then focusing on the work. That's also sometimes not easy, right? And then you can't lock yourself in isolation to do your work, although it's easily said than done. So a lot of things we were, I mean, the last I had a short sharing with the AAA was in an I call Saravana Bhavan, I think, yeah, that time. So actually, again, for those of us who have lived here for almost 30 years, we have seen 3 or 4 cycles. And very well, I remember it's also when I was studying, Ilangovan and the whole, there are a few of them who migrated from Kuwait. That time was a war in the Middle East, right? So that's a great disruption. Many people were disrupted, and they even moved. And that's the last time I can remember we all were buying some groceries and stacking and all that. So there are a lot of things that will happen. It may change. There are extreme views on this, even the current scenario. Some people say this is one of the diseases or virus. You may learn to live with it. Some say, no, it will affect and it will change the way you live. But current scenario, we have a technology to our advantage. A lot of people are positively using it. I think there is a way, in a sense, we will evolve over the time. That's where when you take a bet, you are probably gambling. So if you take the right bet, maybe you win. If you take the wrong bet, probably you lose. And probably, and also that's why you should limit what you gamble or invest in, or how do you progress.
So do you think that, sorry, somebody is asking a question, sorry. Okay.
Yes, sir. Prasad sir, கேளுங்க, நீங்க கண்டினியூ பண்ணுங்க.
Okay.
யார் கேட்கல?
No, I asked before COVID-19, there was a business But now, after this COVID-19, definitely there will be a business change also. Some of the industry they may vanish off. That's what they say. So I'm not sure what kind of industry will go off, but some of them will come out. Because a typical example, one of my classmates is actually doing a Tirupur industry. He was exporting hoisteries and all that, Western brief and all the stuff. But he was feeding people, 1,000 people for that factory. Now he said, I cannot stop the production. I cannot do it. So what happened? He immediately changed into another business. See, for them, is anyway is a business for them. So instead of banyan and other garments, what they do, they started manufacturing masks, gloves, and PPE, because PPE is worldwide required now because of this, all the hospitals and even patients and all that. So they can able to a paradigm shift, not totally paradigm shift. It's a shift of the business, but only the product has changed, but in the same domain actually, but little bit of difference. But there are certain industries they cannot do it um, without leaving it and go to another what do you call deviation and all that. What do you think in that aspect of that?
So this is adaptability, right? So basically you adapt to something and then you move on. So you don't stick to your original product line or anything, you just adapt. So this nowadays, I think versatility, or if you can adapt to a current situation faster, that will definitely help you. But that means you keep changing also, it's fine. The next time when the other, like I was talking to someone back home, they said, காய்கறி போட்டவன்லாம் ஜெயிச்சிட்டான் சார், பூ வச்சவன்லாம் வந்து சஃபர் பண்ணிட்டான் சார். So it's like it changes with time also. It doesn't mean this certain things will always survive, or probably some things will always survive, we don't know, but the probability is that everybody has a risk over every time. So someone gets into doing something totally different, may find himself in maybe in a very good situation, which means he has made a right decision, right? Okay. So this is where I say it's not necessarily right or wrong, and then it's only if you're okay and if you can adapt, it will be good.
Yeah.
So this
what I understand that until the vaccine is actually successfully come out to the society, we have this ambiguity of all this information, because the tuberculosis is gone because we had a vaccine, even for the polio, so many things actually, but we start living with that, but we got a vaccine. But here there's no vaccine, so only thing is two things. One is social distancing, and also is boosting of the immunity. If these two are there worldwide, I think we can rest back into the same kind of business. Otherwise we have to look for alternative, how to survive. It's not question of winning now, it's a question of surviving actually. That's my opinion.
That's good.
டாக்டர் முருகப்பன் சார்,
Yes.
இப்போ அது ரிலேட்டட் தான். இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நம்ம அலுமினி மெம்பர்ஸ் நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க. நீங்கள் சில இடத்துல மென்ஷன் பண்ணீங்க அது ஸ்கில்ஸ் டெவலப்மெண்ட்டை பற்றி. ஸோ அவங்க எது மாதிரி ஏரியாவில் கான்சென்ட்ரேட் பண்ணலாம், எது மாதிரி ஸ்கில்ஸை டெவலப் பண்ணலாம்னு நீங்கள் நினைக்கிறீங்க?
You have to look for the in things you can try. Your traditional things probably you already have. So you can see what are the current trending things and whether you can be good at it when you venture into it. There's no harm always trying to learn a small part of something and then see whether whether you can pursue that, right? So a lot of people change into different careers along the line. In the 90s, when I was in NUS at the time, we have friends who graduated and then they just went into IT. They never pursued civil engineering. So now a lot of people are still also looking at IT, accounting, fintech, a lot of in things. So when you want to learn something, you may want to learn something that is very new, or which has a potential. Probably we have to have some analysis, and it's more suitable for those in the 30s, 40s. You have another 20 years or 30 years of career. So you have to look at something that can sustain you through. And even if you're not going to pursue that career, there's no harm. You will learn it along the way, like you go and study something more. And personally, I have tried to do something always whenever the times have been slow. Because when you have time, especially in the challenging times or slowing times, you can study something or learn something. The last, I think 2009, around that time, so I had an opportunity to get into mediation. I went for some mediation courses. I actually wanted to be a lawyer when I was very young, right?
Okay.
So of course I didn't. So I thought, why not? Then I became, and now I do some mediations in the Supreme Court. So something like that. So there was time, so I went for courses, accreditations, some training. You can try something that you like or that has high potential. It can be seen both ways.
ஓகே, தேங்க்யூ சார். அடுத்து கரு கேட்கலன்னு கையை ரைஸ் பண்ணுங்க. கரு கேளுங்க. உங்க மைக்கை மியூட் பண்ணிட்டு கேளுங்க ஐயா.
இப்போ வந்துட்டு வேலை வந்து மாறுறது வந்துட்டு இது வந்து சரியான டைமா சார்? இது இந்த டயத்துல வந்துட்டு வேலை மாறலாமா?
Yeah, Karu, this is exactly the slide I showed you and the process I went through. I try to share. Okay, so it's something like you have to assess where you are. I mean, not say you means not you. Generally, versus we have to assess where we are hanging from is stable or not. Sometimes the challenge is you cannot see where you are hanging from. Okay, means you don't know whether the crossbar is strong, whether the bolt is secure, and all that. So you have to analyze yourself, and then you have to check whether waiting for something to happen is safer than you can make things happen. So something will happen, right? So either it will happen by itself in the sense that you don't decide, it happens, or you decide and it happens. So what do you want to do is really a personal choice. And I would think it's the same thing like commonly what people say, right? What's the pull factor and push factor when you change job? Whether there is a strong pull factor or there is a strong push factor. So you have to analyze which one wins. And a lot of people are also of the perspective that this may be a turbulent time to make a major decision. Yeah. So that's why if you make a decision, it can be also, the risk also may become like a gamble. But it may be right, but then you win big. So again, yeah. So if you ask me that, if you think you assess the rope and the crocodile, look at the crocodile probably looking at somewhere else, and then your rope looks very bad. Just quickly jump and run away. So if you think the rope is strong and the crocodile is even stronger, better don't jump down, stick to the rope. So
okay.
Yeah, and your liquidity, I mean, our liquidity is something which we have to keep reviewing. This is my, yeah.
Thank you.
அடுத்த ஒரு கொஸ்டின் சார். ஹலோ முருகப்பன் சார். ஸோ இந்த இது COVID-19 சுச்சுவேஷன், ஓகே, த எக்கனாமிக் ப்ராப்ளம், எவ்ரி திங், இது எவ்வளவு நாள் இது கண்டினியூ ஆகணும்னு உங்க பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் வியூல நினைக்கிறீங்க? பழையபடி நார்மல் கண்டிஷனுக்கு வர்றது ஹவு லாங் இட் டேக்ஸ்?
Again, it's a question I think a lot of people are looking for answers, including myself. I think this is something really very difficult to guess for anyone. I think if we know the answer, we are probably the most successful out of this situation, right? So to me, it's still a guess. You have to, I dare not put my bets on it. If I want to put, I can only put some parts of it. Like, yeah. So maybe you have something to invest, then I will take 10% of it and then make a guess like, okay, maybe you will sustain 2 years. But if you want to put 100% on this guess, I think I'll say better don't do this, because no one knows what is ahead. And that's why I say when the external threat is so strong, or we don't know what are the consequences, then we have to play it safely on our side. We have to, like someone just mentioned very well, right? It's a question of survival. It's not talking about the growth. So some look at it as you survive this period, you grow after that.
Okay, நன்றி சார்.
வணக்கம் முரு.
Yeah, hi. Yeah.
Fantastic. நல்ல walk through, reflecting our industrial life as well as the personal touch, your experience sharing. Fantastic. Thanks for touching upon the Kuwait. In fact, I every time I remember Kuwait only, thousands of people,
Yeah, that's why.
That time, it was life threat actually, not only, like this, where there is a job problem or business problem. That was a life threat, but a lot of people, managed it, and we all, we are here, I mean, like we, many people. Okay. I'm sure, everybody will get the type of, a sort of a resilience to come back. Okay. On our situation here, just a few thoughts from my side. See, if you look at this, everybody has to take their own stock. People like me, senior citizen level, not many years left, taking risk and all. So the risk of it, or the loss of revenue, or whatever we think, is sort of limited. Maybe another 10 years, this thing, maybe some opportunities lost. That's all. But people, young people, nothing big deal. They have another 30-40 years. Maybe few years is sort of a setback. It can be recovered. That's the way I see. I mean, world has seen many such pandemic this thing, and after that developed. So I don't see anything really a big except some setback, and it's all mindset and how we take it. Okay. Now coming to Singapore, we are in a much better situation compared to any other country. One reason is the government support. We have seen that one, we are getting fantastic support, and there is nothing to worry. As long as you consolidate, you skill up, you get ready, when things get back, how we align ourselves. Another thing is, when our government is going to support all the businesses, there is a lot of opportunities regional wise, which we can take it. Our people have a good, networking and sort of, skill level to go and work anywhere, So when a lot of American business or European business going to come to this region, which are likely to be out of China, this is going to be this region, and Singapore will be everybody will be looking at as a destination to start with, at least, So there is going to be a lot of opportunities. Could be some setback, but the opportunity is going to be plenty, definitely. We need to watch and keep our networking, and get the right people into our fold, get associated with those people. That type of approach has to be required from our side. Then things will be, since there are certain things which we cannot control. You and me cannot be going to be, finding the vaccine for COVID, or how it has to be is not going to happen. Whichever within our control, probably we need to focus and get ready for this. So it's okay. There's some setback, but things will be become new normal. Maybe another couple of months. Regarding this, concern on this social distancing, how it's going to affect industries like construction is one visible, because something like 500,000 workers are there, and a lot of us associated with the construction industry. But to me, with some precautions, things will go, because any industry has its own way of doing things, own method of works and quality control. All those things has to be intact. It cannot be diluted. So wherever adjustment possible, that is going to happen, definitely. And with government monitoring and environment control, all those things, maybe definitely some adjustment, but this will go on. That's my just thought. Thanks to all.
Yeah, thanks, Ilan. I think you have gone through a high risk than this current situation. I think so. I think your experience and your views are maybe more stable than others. Yeah.
Thank you. Good. We will continue like this. And one suggestion is, as everybody is here, maybe we will get our next generation kids engaged. Maybe we can think of one discussion to understand what is in their mind and what they are doing. How they are viewing this. That type of things. Maybe the suggestion to Nedu and Karu, all these people. You all can think of something for the kids. Maybe in junior college one group, and secondary one group, something like that.
Okay. Okay, na. Sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Noted.
Anytime.
So I just let you know my email ID. It's k_Murugappan@hotmail.com. I think you have the group anyway. You can text me separately. Your view, not views or anything related to this talk. I'm just talking about our own work and the way forward. If there's always anything we all can discuss, do, or something like that, so we can always discuss. And if anyone has any fantastic idea, I have read through some good things, you can also share in the group or share with me. So a lot of reading and sharing will help all of us. And thank you very much for the AAA sharing session. I'm sure it has, if any one of us can remember or take something and use it for the way forward, and or refine your thoughts, that would be very useful. I have heard from you all. I am also very thankful to you all. And sometimes the presentation or sharing my view also lets me have more thought about myself and what I am doing, and refine my own thinking.
Sorry, Muru.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Muru, I have
Murugappan, one more question.
One more question. Sundar sir கேக்குறாங்க, வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க. உங்களை விடுறாப்ல இல்ல.
Okay. கேக்குதா நான் பேசுறது?
நல்லா கேக்குது.
Okay, thanks, Muru. I think it's been a very holistic presentation. Somewhat philosophical, somewhat technical, somewhat remembering our own roots from Tirukkural. I think ரொம்ப ஒரு holistic இருந்தது. And also you have touched on various aspects of business and career and all. So I hope it was useful for everyone who were listening. So எனக்கு வந்து ஒரு சின்ன கொஸ்டின் தான் இருக்கு, அதுக்கு மட்டும் ஆன்சர் பண்ணிடுங்க. Because I know you are very focused on your consulting side of the business and construction industry. So as a consultant's perspective, of course, we know the construction costs possibly or maybe certainly will go up for many reasons, which we know. The material, the manpower, all the social distancing, putting the people on the disarray. But how about consultant side? Is there any impact to the consultant industry that's going to drive cost, or that will bring down the cost because most of you can work from home? Thank you.
Irrespective of this current situation or not, and this current situation probably accelerated some parts of it, but over the time, what is happening, people have started offloading, or they have started outsourcing works to more cost efficient centers. And somehow or other, general professionally, people think that they are on top of the situation, they can do most efficiently. And if you have, and some people just think that if I can make a 3D model, I can generate the whole drawing for the whole project. They think that there's a software that generates every detail. Okay, but having said all this, so I just classify the consulting work myself into two parts. One is my own view, yeah. So my own view is, one is just crunching number. crunching number and producing deliverables. Definitely the efficiency has shot up like anything. Okay, so if I had to do a 20-story building 10 years, 20 years ago and now, it's very different. But the fact remains that your value added or your maneuvering near zeros is always a challenge and where it needs your value. When I say this, very simple, people give you a building and someone says, come on, you do it on a footing. And someone says, okay, I'll do it on a footing. A says this, B says, you should be crazy. Why should you do a footing? It should be on piles. I know this soil condition for hundreds of years. So if you put a footing on this, it's going to settle and create you a problem. These are our things. These type of decisions or this type of concept designs are still valuable and worth people's thought. And these are values. If you talk about number crunching, and number crunching cannot be avoided. If you're in this business, probably you have to do a number crunching efficiently. If you do your own olden day ways, it may not work. It may take a lot of your cost. With this current situation, it may be even more, even easier to work away from home. Work away from office. So your office can be as small as possible. So sometimes small office makes you feel small. It's again psychological, right? A client walks in and you are in a cubicle and then he says, what the hell you are doing, man? So are you sure you can deliver? Yeah. So but probably with time people start understanding this. And so I think if you're into number crunching, you have to be really cost efficient, and you have to maximize your value added services, and you have to give the right service to your client, and the repeated clients or the clients who appreciate your service, I think won't mind paying you what you are worth. Again, it may not apply to a big business. If you're into doing, if you want to engage 100 engineers and run a business, again, there may be some value added component, but your other components may be even bigger. So we have to assess accordingly. Yeah. Just in short, you enhance your value by your value added component rather than you try to compete on the number crunching. It's very difficult. Yeah, thank you.
நன்றி சார். மேபி கரு வந்து நன்றி உரை வழங்குவாங்க. கரு.
Okay, thanks Bhaskaran. Thank you. Okay, I think thanks to everyone, especially in the session வந்துட்டு இந்த பிளாட்ஃபார்ம் அமைச்சு கொடுத்த பிரசிடென்ட் நெடு, செக்ரட்டரி ராஜேஷ், அப்புறம் அன்பு அண்ணா, மற்ற எக்ஸிக்யூட்டிவ் கமிட்டி மெம்பர்ஸ். ஸோ கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு 1.5 மணி நேரம் வந்துட்டு பேஷன்ஸோட அட்டென்ட் பண்ண எல்லா சீனியர் மெம்பர்ஸ் ப்ளஸ் ஐ திங்க் இன்னைக்கு நிறைய யூத் டீம் மெம்பர்ஸ் அட்டென்ட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கீங்க நான் பார்க்குறேன். ரொம்ப தேங்க்ஸ் டு எவரிபடி. தேங்க்ஸ் மெசேஜ் எப்படி டாக்டர் முருகுக்கு சொல்றது, டாக்டர் முருகப்பன் சார் எப்படி சொல்றது தெரியல, அவரே சொல்லிட்டாரு எண்ணிக்கூடிய கர்மம் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாரு. ஸோ தேங்க்யூ வெரி மச். நிறைய விஷயத்தை ஷேர் பண்ணியிருக்கிறாரு. இன்ஃபேக்ட் டாக்டர் முரு சாரை பத்தி சொல்றதுன்னா லைக் 2015 நான் வந்துட்டு செக்ரட்டரி பதவி வைக்கிறப்போ வந்துட்டு அப்ப பழைய செக்ரட்டரிஸ்ல அந்த ஃபைல்ஸ் எல்லாம் வச்சுருப்பாங்க. டாக்டர் முரு சார் வந்துட்டு நம்மளுடைய செக்ரட்டரி 2003-2004 செக்ரட்டரி. அவரோட ஃபைல்ஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்தேன். அப்ப அந்த கம்யூனிகேஷன்ஸ் எல்லாம் நிறைய பண்ண முடியாது, பட் அப்பயும் வந்துட்டு எல்லாரையும் கம்யூனிகேட் பண்ணி நிறைய நிகழ்ச்சிகளை வந்துட்டு சிறப்பா செஞ்சிருந்தாங்க. அதை பார்த்தேன். இன்ஃபேக்ட் ஆன்லைன்ல இன்னைக்கு அவர் ட்ரைனிங்ல கத்துக்கிட்டதை விட ஆஃப்லைன்ல அவரோட ஃபைல்ஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்து நான் நிறைய கத்துக்கிட்டேன். இன்ஃபேக்ட் எப்ப வந்துட்டு அசோசியேஷன் வந்துட்டு ஒரு எதுவா எப்ப கூப்பிட்டாலுமே வந்துட்டு ப்ராப்பரா ரெஸ்பாண்ட் பண்ணி அவருக்கு நிறைய விஷயங்களை நம்ம கைட் பண்ணியிருக்கிறாரு. ஒரு தடவை வரும்போதும் ஒரு விஷயத்தை ட்ரெயின் பண்ணுவார். நமக்கு ஒரு விஷயத்த சொல்லி நமக்கு 2017 ஏஜிஎம் வந்துட்டு நம்ம ஆபீஸ் பேரர்ஸ் வந்துட்டு எந்த மாதிரி விஷயத்தெல்லாம் விட்டுட்டு வந்துட்டு இந்த அசோசியேஷனுக்காக பண்றாங்க அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு கருத்து ரொம்ப இம்ப்ரெசிவா இருந்தது. 2018 AAA 20 தண்டோரான்னு நினைக்கிறேன். அப்போ கூட வந்துட்டு எல்லா மெம்பர்ஸுக்கும் ஒரு மெசேஜ் சொன்னார் அவர், இந்த அசோசியேஷன் எப்படி உருவாச்சு ஆரம்ப காலகட்டத்துல. லைக் அப்பெல்லாம் வந்துட்டு ஃபேமிலியா தான் நம்ம வந்து அசோசியேஷன் மீட்டிங் வருவாங்க. ஸோ இந்த ஃபேமிலி வேல்யூஸ்னா என்ன, ஏன் அதை வந்துட்டு விட்டுட்டீங்க, ஏன் வந்துட்டு அதை விட்டுட்டீங்க, கொஞ்சம் அந்த ஃபேமிலி வேல்யூஸ் விட்டு கொஞ்சம் தள்ளி போற மாதிரி இருக்கு அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு விஷயத்த அவர் சொன்னாரு. அப்புறம் அதை பத்தி நம்ம திருப்பி கெட் டு நோ தட் எப்படி இந்த அசோசியேஷன் உருவானது. ஸோ அந்த ஃபேமிலி வேல்யூஸை நம்ம விடக்கூடாதுன்னு கமிட்டிலாம் வந்து பேசணும். இன்ஃபேக்ட் சவுந்தர் வந்துட்டு கூட அதை பிராட்டப் பண்ணாங்க. ஸோ அந்த ஃபேமிலி டேஸை வந்துட்டு திருப்பி கொண்டு வரணும் அப்படின்ட்டு. பட் இந்த COVID-19 இப்போ பண்ண முடியல. பட் we have our family day in I think November, sir. Recently ICL I think I can't remember. போன வருஷம் ICL சார் வந்தாரு. ஐசிஎல்க்கு வந்தாரு. லைக் ஐசிஎல் மெம்பர்ஸ்லயே வந்துட்டு ரொம்ப இளைஞர்கள்லாம் விட அதிகமா ஒரு எந்தூசியா விளையாடினாரு அப்படின்னு தான் சொல்லணும். இன்ஃபேக்ட் சிக்ஸர் அடிச்சு எல்லாருமே ரொம்ப சந்தோஷப்படுத்தி இளைஞர்கள் எல்லாருமே ஒரு மோட்டிவேட் பண்ணாரு. இன்னைக்கு மட்டும் இல்ல, அவர் ட்ரைனிங் எப்போ வந்துட்டு அசோசியேஷனுக்காக அவர் கூப்பிட்டாலுமே வந்துட்டு வருவாரு, வந்து வேல்யூபிளான ஒரு ஃபீட்பேக் கொடுத்துட்டு அவரு அலாங் த வேல நம்ம பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு. அதுக்கு ரொம்ப நன்றி. இன்னைக்கு நிறைய விஷயத்த ஷேர் பண்ணியிருக்கீங்க சார். நீங்க நிறைய பேருக்கு ஐ ஓப்பனிங்கா இருந்திருக்கு உங்களோட ஸ்பீச். எப்படி சொல்லலாம், வேலை மாறலாம், இப்போ இந்த கட்டத்துல என்ன பண்ணலாம், இந்த ரிஸ்க் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் எப்படி ரிஸ்க் ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்றது, அப்புறம் மிட்டிகேட் பண்றது, எப்படி ஓவர் கம் பண்றது, ஒரு என்டர்பிரனரா வரணும்னா அவங்களுக்கான நிறைய டிப்ஸ் நீங்க கொடுத்துருக்கீங்க. அதுக்கு ரொம்ப ரொம்ப நன்றி உங்களுக்கு. லாஸ்ட் நாட் லீஸ்ட் பாஸ்கரன், தேங்க்யூ. பாஸ்கரன் கூட நேத்தா சொன்னேன் நீங்க தான் மாடரேட் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்ட்டு. என்ன அப்படின்னு கேட்டாரு. பட் அவர் இன்னைக்கு இந்த ஃபுல் செஷனுமே வந்துட்டு கைட் பண்ணி நல்லா மாடரேட் பண்ணிருக்கீங்க. உங்களுக்கு ஒரு பெரிய தேங்க்ஸ். அடுத்து வந்துட்டு நமக்கு இந்த ஆன்லைன் ட்ரைனிங் வந்துட்டு சார் பேசும்போது வந்துட்டு இது மாரி ஒரு மாசத்துக்கு ஒரு ட்ரைனிங் ஒன்று பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லியிருக்கீங்க. ஓகே, வி டேக் நோட். கமிட்டியில போய் பேசி ஒரு மேபி அதுக்கான வாய்ப்புகள் எல்லாம் இருக்குன்னு பார்த்துட்டு அதை பண்ணலான் இருக்கோம். ஃபைனலி இந்த ஆன்லைன் இந்த ட்ரைனிங் வந்துட்டு இன்னையோட இந்த நாலேஜ் ஷேரிங் செஷன் வந்து இன்னையோட முடியல. அடுத்த வாரம் வந்துட்டு 23 அதே மாரி ஆர் செல்வராஜ் 91 பேட்ச் உங்களுக்கு எல்லாருமே தெரியும். அவரும் இந்த மாரி ஒரு ட்ரைனிங் கண்டக்ட் பண்ணுறதா இருக்காரு. ஸோ எல்லாரும் அதுக்கு வந்துருங்க. அப்புறம் வந்துட்டு அடுத்த சண்டே இளன் அண்ணாவும் சாம் சிங்கிள்ஸ் வந்து என்டர்பிரினர்ஸ் மீட் ஒன்று இருக்கு. அதுல கூட இந்த மாதிரி சுச்சுவேஷன்ஸ்ல வந்துட்டு என்ன மாதிரியான பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்னு மெம்பர்ஸ்க்கு ஏதாவது டவுட் இருந்தா அந்த ஷேரிங் செஷன்லயே வந்துட்டு நம்ம கேள்விகள் கேட்கலாம். உங்களுக்குன்னு ஏதாவது சந்தேகம் இருந்தா அந்த ஒரு வாரத்துல கேள்விகளை ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணிக்கங்க. கேள்விகளை வந்துட்டு செஷன்ல தான் கேட்கணுங்கிற அவசியம் கிடையாது. இன்ஃபேக்ட் சாரோட நம்பர் இருக்கு, நீங்க டைரக்டா கூட கண்டக்ட் பண்ணலாம். இளன் அண்ணா வந்துட்டு அவரோட வியூ வந்துட்டு இந்த COVID-19 பத்தி இடையில வந்துட்டு ஒரு சில கருத்துக்கள் சொன்னாரு, ரொம்ப வேல்யூபிளான கருத்துக்கள். அந்த மாதிரியான கருத்துக்கள் வந்துட்டு தொடரும். ஸோ ப்ளீஸ் ஜாயின் வித் அஸ் 23 நெக்ஸ்ட் வீக் அண்ட் 24 டிசம்பர் மே இளன் செஷனுக்கும். எல்லாருக்கும் நன்றி. டாக்டர் முருகப்பன் சார், மிக்க நன்றி சார். வணக்கம்.
Yeah, thank you again for this session. I really enjoyed the session, and also it was good, and hope you all had a good Saturday, and wish you all a very great week ahead.
எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து ஒரு கைத்தட்டு கொடுக்கலாமே, விர்ச்சுவல் கைத்தட்டு. மியூட் ஆன் பண்ணிக்கணும்.
That's great. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
கரு ரொம்ப நன்றி கரு.
ரொம்ப நன்றி சார்.
Thank you, Muru.
Thank you, Sundar. Thank you.